Got a cool question from a dude named Johan, who's asked me to call him Joe, from Holland. Holland, all up in my house. That's real cool. He's been playing for about 10 years, and he just has a question regarding balance on the kit. So I guess he does a lot of heel-toe action while he's playing, and he occasionally finds himself going out of balance, you know, in the middle of the groove, which obviously affects how he sounds. If it's throwing him off, it's going to throw off his timing and all that kind of stuff. So it's not a common question, but it's a cool question. And I chose to do this one because it's actually an important topic to bring up. So, yeah, he just, you know, do you have any advice for me on how to keep my balance while my feet are floating around all over the place? Yeah. There's two things that might be causing imbalance while you're playing. The first and most important thing, take a look at your pedals. That's the one thing. The second thing is going to be seat height. Take a look at your pedals. If this is your kick drum pedal, your hi-hat pedal should be relatively even with your kick drum pedal. I've seen some setups where the kick's here and the hi-hat, for whatever reason, is like way the frig down here and off at this weird angle. And that just promotes bad posture. You have to sit really weird, and you got one foot that's too close to you, and the other one's going to be too far out, and it's just going to be really awkward to play, and it's going to be hard to keep your balance when you're doing that kind of thing. So you might have to make some adjustments. Take a look at that first, because you can't really manipulate the pedals, you know, equally if they're too far off at too weird an angle. So that's the one thing. The second thing that sort of ties into that is seat height. Things might be a little awkward if you're seated way too low, especially if your pedals are out of line. So those are the two main things. Take a look at those. Make sure you're keeping your pedals relatively even. If you have to move some stuff around, because I mean, sometimes in those cases where I've seen the pedals way out of whack, it's because there's just too much crap in the way for whatever reason. So posture comes first, right? Make sure your setup is ergonomically cool before you sit down to play. And make sure that you set your kit up around you as opposed to you adapting to your setup, because you got to be comfortable. If you're not comfortable, you're going to sound like crap. Your kit setup is super important, and I'm not going to say there's a right or a wrong way to set your kit up, but there's definitely smarter ways to set your kit up that will have much less of a physical effect on you in the long run, because there are plenty of drummers out there that have actually been told to stop playing because of crappy posture. Case in point, Phil Collins. Phil Collins is the first one that comes to mind. He's got some serious spinal action happening, and his doctor told him that he literally had to stop playing because your back's too screwed up. And that's directly a result of really, really bad posture. If you take a look at a lot of older videos of Phil Collins playing his kit, that dude had the worst setup. So it wasn't any surprise that he screwed his back up after a number of years. His toms were really kind of at a weird angle, but the main thing was his snare. His snare is like way down here, and he's sort of approaching it on this sort of weird kind of angle, and his back was hunched over a lot, and it's just really, really bad posture. I could not imagine my doctor telling me that I had to stop playing drums because of something that could have been avoided on my part. So anyways, posture is important, and your setup will affect your posture. So you have to make sure that your kit is set up in a way that you're comfortable, you're centered, your feet are even, your hands are even. That means don't set your cymbals up too high, or you know, your hi-hat too far over, or way the frig up here like Travis Barker. Like, all of that stuff is for aesthetics, but it's not cool for you in the long run.